What's up, everybody? I'm Jesse. This is my garage. Things are coming together in it, and today we're going to be talking about oil for our 300ZX. Probably what weight you might want to use. I always see this question on forums. I just got this. What oil should I put in my car? What oil should I be using? Well, it's really on probably like two factors. Number one, you just want to do whatever the manufacturer recommends for the car. Usually you can find it underneath the hood on your oil cap. 300ZX is right here, stamped on the hood, the sticker. Nissan manufactured this engine to run on a certain oil weight and in certain climates. So number two, that's the next thing, is the climate. What climate do you live in? Colder climate or warmer climate is really going to dictate what weight oil you should be using. So the engine oil weight on your 300ZX, if you live in a climate that sees temperatures below zero, probably northern climate, Nissan manufacturer recommends you go with a 530 weight oil. If you live in a climate that does not see temperatures below zero, Nissan recommends and prefers a 1030 weight oil. If you live in a warmer climate where the ambient air temperature is 50 degrees or above for all seasons, Nissan says you can run a 2040 or a 2050 weight oil as well. But enough of that. Let's get back and let's get the oil change on 300ZX. All right, well, here's what you're going to need to replace your oil in your 300ZX. First, we're going to need a place to drain our oil to. So we have a drain pan, funnel to fill it back up. I'm going to be using 1030 weight oil. Our new oil filter, definitely always want to have these on hand, is a new copper crush washer for your drain plug and a 14mm socket for our drain plug. Now, I literally just have the car on our low life ramps, GK Tech low ramps, and we're going to be working on the passenger side. Everything is right over here. So let's get down there and see what we got. All right, well, here's everything we need on the passenger side. We got our oil filter and then our drain plug right there on the bottom of the oil pan. We'll go ahead and pull the drain plug into our oil pan, then we'll pull off our oil filter and let everything drain. All right, once you start to unscrew the oil filter, it's gonna drain. So I just unscrewed a little bit, let it all drain out. We've got our oil pan plug pulled. Two quick tips. Number one, wear gloves. This stuff is nasty. You don't want used oil on your skin. Number two, when you're pulling the drain plug out, keep forward pressure on the drain plug, like push it towards the pan as you're unscrewing it. That will keep the oil from just pouring all out and keep the mess small as possible. You should be able to pull it all that way and not even get any oil on you. All right, now that we got this mess out of the way, and I actually had to end up using a floor jack just because this thing was so tall, and to get to slide in and out, I just want to jack it up, give it a little bit extra. But when we pull our oil filter off, this is one thing, some people overlook it. We always definitely want to make sure that this rubber gasket, and it's different on different filters. This is a Nissan one. This is a really nice rubber gasket. Sometimes it's just an O-ring. This one's got a flat landing part and everything. It's probably not going to pull out of the filter, but on some of your cheaper filters, sometimes if you remove the oil filter, this rubber O-ring can stick onto the engine. And if you're not paying attention and you put your other oil filter on with the old O-ring still stuck on the engine, it will leak out a ton of oil and you'll have to fix it. So one thing to prevent that is just to go ahead and look and see that it's still intact when you pull it off the car. So there's that, and then this is our drain plug. There's our crush washer that we will be replacing, and we'll go ahead and get this taken off. All right, well, there's our drain plug. This style crush washer, it just threads off, and so there's that guy crushed, and here's this guy ready to get crushed. There we go. Our crush washer is all set and ready for insertion. All right, next we have our oil filter. There's a couple things I like to do to prep the oil filter. Number one is I like to do this is write the month, which is, this is January, and then the year, which is 22. So 122, that'll let me know the last time I changed this filter was January 2022. Little thing I like to do. And if for some reason you got this car after me, I sold it to you, you would know when it got changed. The other thing we like to do is you can put motor oil, just some brand new oil, take your finger, dip it in there and do that. I like to use a little grease just because it stays where I put it a little bit better, not quite as messy, and I know it's going to be sealed up nicely. The little multi-purpose grease, don't have to worry about that. And this oil filter actually screws up, so you could put some oil in here, which I might actually just do, just put a little bit of oil in here, and then we'll just screw it up into the car. All right, well, I've successfully made a little bit of a mess, but there's oil in there now. We can go ahead and screw this up. Since this oil filter on the 300ZX goes straight up, that's the reason I did that. Because otherwise, if it goes sideways, it's gonna make a huge mess. Our drain plug's ready. Now ready to get back underneath and reinstall these components. All right, the next thing we have to do is fill up our engine, because we are ready to rock and roll. So we got our filter and our funnel in place. You can try and not make a mess and not use a funnel if you want, but I'm gonna use a funnel. And then our oil, we're gonna start with, I think it's like 3 5/8 quarts is what it calls for on the 300ZX. We are going to start with that and see where we end up. All right, so we went with about 3.5 quarts. That's what we had with what we put in the oil filter. We're gonna get underneath, look for any leaks, then that's all good. Double check everything up front, and we're gonna start the car and run it for just a few seconds, let the oil build up, then check it and see where we're at, top off anything else we need. All right, everything underneath the car looked good. Our oil filter wasn't leaking, our drain plug wasn't leaking. We're ready to start the car. Let's go. Now, my gauge cluster doesn't work. You want to make sure you're reading oil pressure, but mine doesn't work right there. It's not uncommon for 300ZXs for those to have problems. I hear about them all the time. We do have a new gauge cluster we'll be swapping in soon. Hopefully that takes care of the problem. If not, we can always go with an aftermarket monitoring device to monitor our oil pressure. Once we get to the twin turbo engine swap, we will make sure that we are monitoring oil pressure somehow, an external gauge, or if that gauge is working, possibly both. But looks good. We let it run. Let's shut it off and check the oil. All right, we're gonna go ahead and grab our dipstick right here, pull it out, wipe it off once, and then let's stick it back in for a clean pull. Looks like we're on the low side. We probably need up to another quart, but let's add a half and see where we're at. Whoops. All right, and there we go. She's right where we want her. Put about another quart in, called it a day. We're ready to button this up. We get the oil cap back in place, the oil dipstick back in place, and we'll check one more time to make sure everything's looking good underneath. We'll call it a day. All right, now that we've got this all done, let's make sure and we don't forget to put our oil cap back. If some of you guys watch TJ Hunt, you know his friend forgot to put the oil cap back on his brother's car and they blew up their engine because, you know, oil's out everywhere. Second thing, that's all buttoned up. Tool check, we're looking good. According to the EPA, oil filters aren't fully drained until they sit for 24 hours and you pop a hole in the top. Got this one sitting, we'll throw it away. We've got an oil disposal. Dispose of your oil properly. Take it down to Walmart, AutoZone. I think even some places, the recycling place will come by and pick it up for you. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you learned something. We learned colder climates where it goes under 0 degrees. What is this, Fahrenheit? We want 530. Middle of the road climates that doesn't see under 0, we can go 1030. That's what Nissan says they prefer. And then warmer climates, we can use like a 2040 or even 2050 weight oil on our Nissan 300ZX. BG30 DET? Yeah, DETT. What am I having a hard time for? I don't know. Make sure to subscribe, stay tuned. You want to learn more, you just buy out a 300ZX, or you're going to buy a 300ZX, kind of want to know what to expect, working on them, easy maintenance stuff. This is the channel for you. We've done a lot to this car. We got a lot more to do. We're going to go phase 2. We've got some stuff over here. Keep watching, subscribe. You can know what's going on with that and see that. So thanks so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment, questions about any of this stuff. Oh yeah, shop JGarage.com, 300ZX shirt, looking fresh. And I will see you on the next one.